Hi everyone, Caan here, and in this week's upload I want to do something slightly different, okay? I want to help you guys develop as day traders on the sports exchange or any other exchange for that matter, and tackle one of the biggest problems that we all face as human beings when it comes to trading, okay? And it is all of us because it is a very human problem. It's quite simple when you look at it objectively, but in the first instance it's not necessarily that clear. So it wasn't that long ago that I was trading around my 9-to-5 job, coming home from work, getting stuck into the markets, trying to develop my trading skill set, and I would often go through that process of taking 2 steps forward, 1 back, or even worse than that in fact, taking 2 steps forward and then 1 massive leap right back to the start, which was extremely frustrating. But the main common denominator within this problem was me, okay, and how I was viewing the marketplace, how I was behaving because of my view on that. And so to have that transformation was a complete relief, but you can have that transformation once you understand what the issues are and recognize them within yourself. So assuming that sounds useful, then that's what this video is going to be about. Don't forget to tap the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and watch it through to the end. So the first one, unsurprisingly, is FOMO, fear of missing out, okay? I'm not gonna hang around too long on this because it's often talked about in trading circles and well known once you're actually looking at the problem. And that's half of the issue here, because a lot of new traders come into this and they don't actually realize it's a problem, okay? So you need to be fully aware. It usually is at its worst when you've made a correct prediction about the marketplace, you've analyzed the situation properly, you've got a logical reason, but then you didn't make a profit from it, okay? And that's obviously linked to the whole scarcity thing and natural human urge. You know, you see it in marketing all the time, you know, grab it now before you miss out. And that's exactly what you're doing to yourself in the moment whilst you're trading these markets, okay? So scarcity, being unaware, which is obviously inevitably linked to greed and money also. So think of it like this: when you are experiencing fear of missing out, or you know, you're feeling those urges, you're effectively saying to yourself and the marketplace, I'm willing to take this trade at any price. Okay, now that's completely illogical itself. Where's the value in that? Why would you possibly do that? You wouldn't. So FOMO, to overcome FOMO in the moment whilst you're trading the markets, is best just to be fully self-aware, monitor yourself, your internal dialogue, how you're feeling as much as you possibly can. Obviously that's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and realize and understand and own it fully that a missed opportunity costs absolutely nothing. It's just a missed opportunity, okay? Missing a predicted move is actually a very good thing when you think about it logically, because you understood the marketplace, you understood what was going on, you analysed it correctly. It was just a case of you didn't get the money for it. So don't beat yourself up about it, okay? The second point that I want to go on to is losing money. And this is a big one, because at the end of the day, we're all here to make money, right? Okay, and the more you have this strong attachment to money in terms of your feelings towards it, the harder it's going to be for you. The reason for it is simple, okay? Pain leads to being more anxious. Obviously pain from losing money or making a loss is going to happen at some point or another. We'll come to in a second. You become more anxious, and the more anxious you become, the more it fulfills that cycle and becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? Which means lack of confidence, you make poor decisions, and then, you know, the cycle repeats. So the good news is once you overcome that, things become a lot easier, and I appreciate it's a lot easier for me to say as a successful trader, but over a period of time, the less it becomes an issue, the less you have to confront that issue, is what I'm trying to say here. So how can you confront that issue? Well, first of all, you need to alter your own personal view on trading and realize and accept fully and actually own it that losses should happen. We're just trying to win more often than not. That's it. We're not trying to win every single time. Losses will happen. Losses should be viewed more like a business expense. Okay, in the moment, it's the cost of doing business. Pros accept this wholeheartedly, day in, day out, and that's not to say that we don't slip back into relapse from time to time or make mistakes. We certainly do. It's a case of you become more aware of it, it becomes less harmful and painful, and so you become less anxious, and the process doesn't repeat. So that's a big one, which always seems to send people backwards into sabotage mode. Also, next we're going to move on to the third point, which is losing previously made money and or turning it into a loss, okay? Particularly turning it into a loss. Now, we've all heard that wonderful saying, which is let your profits run and cut your losses short. Entirely logical, but unfortunately for new traders, a lot of the time it's usually the other way around. And the reason that this happens is nearly always linked to the same thing, which is the exit-in portion of the trade, not necessarily the entry, the exit-in portion of the trade. And that is because you want to feel like you're a winner, okay, which we're all naturally programmed to do. But by locking in a profit and cutting yourself short, you are submitting to that feeling of wanting to feel like a winner. And alternatively, on the other hand, not being able to accept a loss sometimes is very similar. So you have to ask yourself, when it comes to exiting a trade, be it in profit or in loss, why are you exiting? Okay, so to overcome that, you need to make sure that you only exit for a logical reason. So many people close out for other reasons, mainly, like I said, profit. Oh, I'm in the green, so I'll close out. Oh, I'm in the red, so I won't close out, which inevitably leads us back to, that initial saying in reverse. So decide in advance, if you can, where your exit is likely to be. That's one way to help yourself overcome it. Realize that you're only exiting for a logical reason, and by all means do everything you can to monitor yourself and ask yourself, am I in that situation where it's like a rabbit in the headlights? Am I stunned a little bit now? Am I just staring at the screen aimlessly hoping? Because that is obviously gambling, that is not trading. So moving on to the fourth point, which is a little similar, and that is being wrong or right sometimes also. So this is something that's ingrained into all of us in society through other areas of life in the world, which is completely normal, but it's completely counterproductive when it comes to trading. And that is that we've learned that being right is a good thing. Okay, now in trading it's obviously a good thing too, but it's not necessarily a bad or harmful thing if you're not right. Okay, people make mistakes, and the people that are usually involved in trading, or at least pursuing trading, are successful people in other walks of life, which I feel personally, having spoke to a lot of people that are learning to trade over the years, it's kind of exacerbated that problem because they've experienced a lot of success elsewhere, not necessarily just financial success, but they are typically people that are doers, people that get on with things and make a success of things. So when it comes to trading, you need to be a lot more of a plain canvas, if you like, and not be a doer so much, and not be so ravenous when it comes to being right. You need to accept that you will be wrong sometimes, and that is part and parcel of the process. So one thing to add on this, myself included, where I've shared results online before, when you see other professional people's results, don't assume that just because they've made a load of money, don't assume that the story of that particular marketplace was all frills and spills. So, might trade a horse race, for example, and have plenty of losses within that race, and then have a large win and swing in price. And overall, you would say, oh, successful market, which it obviously is, but it may not be the full story of the actual market. So don't get too hung up on that. But the ways in which to overcome it is to realize that, at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. Losing is part and parcel. You just need to brush that off. But also adversely, and sometimes this is even more dangerous, is the euphoria of winning. Okay, so if you have had some success in the last few markets and you have been right, there's no need to get yourself, up on your pew thinking you're all high and mighty and you've absolutely cracked it, because that is also a point where you're extremely susceptible to making such mistakes. Okay, but the last thing to say as well, which is absolutely crucial, is remove the targets. Okay, one thing that happened to me in the past, and I remember it in particular because I was looking in the mirror at the time talking to somebody on the phone, and they said, turn off your account balance whilst you're trading. You don't need to see it. It's completely disconnected. Yes, it's money. Yes, that's the objective, but the more you think about the money and all those things we've just talked about in those 4 points, the more likely you are to trip yourself up. So turn it away, take it off, remove the cue. And that was actually a helpful thing for me too. Now, when I'm trading, I don't look at my balance ever until the end of the session. So overall, as one wash up then, I suppose, collectively, it's important to look at your personal feelings whilst you're trading. How are you reacting? Are you being emotional? I mean, whomever made a good decision when they were being emotional? Nobody. I can't think of a time that I did. So bear that in mind, take that forward. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Don't forget to tap the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and watch another video in the end screen here.